none of these budgets makes any difference to farmers' lives today. So patient बेड के ऊपर है, एग्रीकल्चर बेड के ऊपर है, so उसको जीने के लिए जितना चाहिए वो दे रही है. We are not making it healthy. पिछले साल से अगर कंपेयर किया तो ज़्यादा इंक्रीज नहीं है इफ यू कंपेयर इट विद द इन्फ्लेशन, राइट.
बहुत ही सरप्राइजिंग चीज़ है सर. आप देखें तो इंडिया हमेशा से ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग, नेचुरल फार्मिंग का देश रहा है.
जब आपका डेटा दिखा रही है कि सॉइल्स ठीक नहीं है, योर ओन CACP डेटा शोज दैट देयर इज नो मच नेट इनकम्स फार्मर्स आर गेटिंग, है ना. इफ यू आर अनेबल टू टेक एनी डिसीजन, नाउ यू आर सेइंग यू विल बिल्ड एन एग्री-स्टैक व्हिच विल गिव राइट इन्फॉर्मेशन टू द फार्मर. अगर जो इन्फॉर्मेशन आपको आ रही है उसके ऊपर आप अगर ठीक से डिसीजन नहीं ले पा रही है, हाउ आर यू एक्सपेक्टिंग फार्मर्स विल टेक ए राइट डिसीजन? Small producers who are, I would say, they're all entrepreneurs, and they are the ones who are under threat today, and they are basically becoming labor. So such people should get support so that they can survive on their own.
What would you say, sir, the budget has done right? मतलब कुछ तो अच्छा होगा बजट में किसानों के लिए.
Except for that livestock thing, I have not seen anything positive at all. Even if farmers want to come out providing alternative livelihoods also was not there.
Sir, let's say that you were to rewrite this budget. What are some other areas you think?
The first policy would be the direct income support. Second would be in terms of more investments on soil health. So I would say every year I would reduce the fertilizer use by 20%.
How would you do that?
So increase organic matter in the soil. So invest more there. There's a lot of opportunities in agriculture and rural economy. If you recall what Gandhi said, future of India lies in villages. It doesn't lie in the urban areas.
रामन सर, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग. एक इतने छोटे नोटिस पर सुबह आपसे बात हुई थी, शाम को आप ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं. आज का पॉडकास्ट सर बहुत ही स्पेसिफिक रखना है. आपसे जब मैं पहली बार मिलना चाहता था, इट वाज अबाउट टू टॉक अबाउट नेचुरल फार्मिंग, बट मे बी उसके लिए एक अलग सा पॉडकास्ट हम करेंगे. आज का पॉडकास्ट फोकस करेंगे एग्रीकल्चर बजट. आई थिंक कल अनाउंस हुआ था, एंड काफ़ी मतलब इंटरेस्टिंग बजट है. एग्रीकल्चर का जो एलोकेशन है 7% ज़्यादा दिया गया है, बट बहुत सारे लोग क्वेश्चन उठा रहे हैं कि अच्छा बजट है, क्या अच्छा नहीं है. आपका ऊपर से टेक क्या है ऑन द बजट टू स्टार्ट ऑफ विद? पहले हम लोग को ब्रीफ दे सकते हैं व्हाट हैपेंड इन द बजट.
आज का बजट सेलिंग जैसा है. सो पेशेंट बेड के ऊपर है, एग्रीकल्चर बेड के ऊपर है, सो उसको जीने के लिए जितना चाहिए वो दे रही है. वी आर नॉट मेकिंग इट हेल्दी, आई वुड से. So, क्योंकि see if you look at the total allocation, 7% is, if you correct it to the inflation, there is nothing much increase compared to the last year. पिछले साल से अगर कंपेयर किया तो ज़्यादा इंक्रीज नहीं है if you compare it with the inflation, right? और इसमें हाँ, और इसमें ज़्यादा सा फोकस, ज़्यादा जो पैसा है PM किसान के ऊपर जा रही है, राइट. लार्ज चंक ऑफ मनी इज गोइंग फॉर PM किसान. और PM किसान अगर शुरुआत से देखा तो 2016-17 में जब शुरुआत हुआ था, उस समय से आज तक 6,000 रुपया है. अगर आप उस समय से अगर इन्फ्लेशन को करेक्ट किया तो आज वो 6,000 रुपया 2,000 के आसपास है या 30,000 के आसपास है. मतलब इट हैज गॉन डाउन ऑलरेडी बाई 50% टू द फार्मर.
करेक्ट.
एंड रेस्ट ऑफ द प्रोग्रामेटिक एलोकेशन ज़्यादा नहीं हुआ है. I think that's where the problem lies. So if you look at allocations wise, except for I think livestock livelihoods, nothing else has been done. And livestock allocations are very critical because that is what is the growing sector. I would say sunrise sector in agriculture, if you look at it, it's just about livestock, because the incomes coming from livestock is growing for the farmers significantly. It's more than 100% in the last 5 years if you take. Whereas the increase in crop production in the crops, the income for farmers is only about 20%, 20-25%, not more than that. Last 5 years, if you break down the incomes coming from different sources, labor income is increasing, livestock income is increasing, but crop product में income increase नहीं हो रही है. So there is a stagnation, and then there is a reduction which is happening if you break down it into the crops. So given that situation, government could have come up with a plan of how do you rationalize cropping patterns and crop production practices in the country, because we are seeing किसान को आमदनी नहीं मिल रही है, और जो प्रैक्टिसेस किसान प्रैक्टिस कर रही है उसके कारण groundwater is depleting, and there is also soils getting deteriorated. It's very clear today. And government also admitted that in the economic survey that the soils are getting deteriorated, and we cannot continue. Say very soon, if we continue like this, lot of land in India will become a desert. That's where we are headed to. अगर वो स्थिति में budget अगर आ रही तो budget should have been a driver. No, we are sitting in a driver position. So what kind of regulation you bring in, and then what kind of support accelerations you bring in, so that there will be a policy will drive a shift in cropping patterns and production practices. ये दोनों में बदलाव लाना था. So fertilizers कम करने की जरूरत है. तो how do you reduce a 10 to 15% fertilizer use every year? हाँ, उसको अगर शिफ्ट होना है तो हाउ डू यू सपोर्ट पीपल अडॉप्टिंग मोर सस्टेनेबल एग्रीकल्चर प्रैक्टिसेस इज समथिंग विच इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. बट उसके ऊपर बिल्कुल डिस्कशन नहीं हुआ है, एंड नो एलोकेशंस हैव बीन मेड ऑन दैट.
वो बहुत ही सरप्राइजिंग चीज़ है सर, क्योंकि हिस्टोरिकली आई मीन आप देखें तो इंडिया हमेशा से ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग, नेचुरल फार्मिंग का देश रहा है, राइट. पिछले 30-40 साल में फॉर सम रीज़न फर्टिलाइज़र और ये कन्वेंशनल फार्मिंग की तरफ हम बढ़ चुके हैं. एंड आप कह रहे हैं इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में ये मेंशन था कि ये सब करना है.
ये सब करना है बिकॉज़ सॉइल्स आर अंडर सॉइल्स आर इन अ वेरी डेंजरस सिचुएशन. दैट्स व्हाट इकोनॉमिक सर्वे वाज सेइंग, एंड एवरी रिपोर्ट इज सेइंग. एंड दैट्स अ पॉइंट आई वांटेड टू ब्रिंग अप. व्हेन दैट्स अ सिचुएशन, व्हेन जब आपका डेटा दिखा रही है कि सॉइल्स ठीक नहीं है और आमदनी नहीं आ रही किसानों को, indebtedness is increasing, your own CACP data shows that there is no much net incomes farmers are getting, है ना. ये सब अगर आपके सामने है तो if you are unable to take any decision, now you are saying you will build an Agri-Stack which will give right information to the farmers. अगर जो information आपको आ रही है उसके ऊपर आप अगर ठीक से decision नहीं ले पा रही है, how are you expecting farmers will take a right decision?
ये एग्री स्टैक के बारे में बताइए सर, क्या आपने मेंशन किया कुछ एआई का किसने है ना सरकार.
see they are talking about investing on Agri-Stack which will provide right advice to the farmers. अब किसके आधार पर कर रही है? आईसीआर का डेटा के आधार पर. अगर आईसीआर की किताबों में उतना नॉलेज है तो पिछले last 70 years problem would have been solved, right? Problem is not solved. In fact, the same cropping patterns, same production practices they're following. Just because you are putting it into an AI tool, will it solve the problem? Isn't it? And second is, if based on data, if right decisions can be taken, this budget would not have been like this.
नहीं, बट सर आपको लगता है कि इंफॉर्मेशन एक बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है एग्रीकल्चर में?
नहीं, see, information है. See, I would say we did some exercise earlier looking at NSSO data, CACP data, Poshan Vatika data. If you look at National Health Survey data, desertification and land use data. So if you look at all these data sets, they're clearly saying you are heading towards a disaster. And if you go and talk to any farmer, they are saying, no, you are heading towards a disaster. There's nothing new in that. But you are unable to take decision because you got stuck. So if you are stuck with all your resources and then all your powers, if you are stuck, expecting that you built a data stack which will provide an information to the farmer, क्या practice करना है, and then that practices which brought us here, no? With all the crisis today, whatever we are seeing, if ICR has to take credit for the productivity increase, it also has to take the discredit for the destruction of the soils, right?
100%.
You can't take only for one thing and then leave the rest of it, right? It also has to take that economics are not working out. That also is important, right? See, I can produce anything, but it should be economically viable. So if it is not economically viable, if it is having an environmental impact, if these are not taken into account, you are wrong. And then now you are saying on the knowledge you are building something.
हम लोग कोई प्रॉब्लम को एड्रेस नहीं कर रहे हैं.
So the point is we are always a solution driven. हमको जो solution में पैसा मिलता है, जो solution हमको आज के दिन I would say modern लगता है. So today I will call it as AI. Yesterday I will call it as gene editing. Day before I will call it as high yielding varieties. So I'll just run behind a technology without looking at what the technology is doing to the people.
Understood.
See, if there are so much suicides, say if there are so many suicides happening, so much migration happening, if there's indebtedness in the country, are you taking a right decision on that? What is your AI telling you on that? What is your AI telling you on that? Is it telling you that these people have to be left out and then sent out of agriculture? Or is it saying you need to make a turnaround? If your economic survey itself is saying that you need to make a turnaround, and if your budget is not doing that, it shows you are making a wrong priorities.
तो आई थिंक सबसे बड़ा जो मिसिंग पॉइंट है बजट में से कि नेचुरल फार्मिंग ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग को कोई अटेंशन
I
नहीं
would say, no, it's not just about organic natural farming, even the regular agriculture. I would say, even focusing on, even if people who are using chemicals, they should move towards more sustainable agriculture, right? They should reduce chemical use, they should reduce water use, they should reduce cropping pattern, change in the cropping pattern, rice area कम होना चाहिए. So if that is the case, then what is your driver? आप बजट में क्या allocate कर रहे हैं, क्या schemes announce कर रही है उस तरफ जाने के लिए. I think that's where the problem, वो नहीं है.
वो मिसिंग है. मैं भी पढ़ा बजट.
So soil improvement के लिए क्या कर रही है आप? If you are continuing the same fertilizer subsidies the same way, but if you want farmers to change, continue the same free power and then supply of water, procure only rice, but you ask farmers to grow pulses, they're not going to do it.
फर्टिलाइजर सब्सिडी कम हुआ है सर. मैं पढ़ रहा था. आई एम जस्ट चेकिंग माय फोन राइट नाउ. 8.4% कम किए हैं शायद उन्होंने, ऐसा कुछ मैं पढ़ा था.
See, allocations and then spending both are very different things. If you look at last 20 years data, हर एक साल allocation तो होगा 1.5 lakh crores, 2.5 lakh crores kind of thing. And by the time real data comes in, actual data, it is always shooting up.
अच्छा,
ऊपर जाता है. दूसरा ये हो रही है, गवर्नमेंट अलोकेशन कम करती है, इट द बर्डन फॉल्स ऑन द फूड कॉर्पोरेशन ऑफ इंडिया, द फर्टिलाइजर डिपार्टमेंट, वो भी हो रही है. सो दीज टू आर द क्लियर इश्यूज विच आर हैपनिंग. एंड सी, natural farming, organic farming, there are a lot of other alternative models in the country which should have been promoted, and they singly focused on nano urea rather than actually providing equal support to all other practices.
नैनो यूरिया का एग्जैक्टली क्या है सर बजट में, if you can explain?
No, I'm saying the entire government promotion. So because that is also brought under the subsidy, right? So when we talk about subsidies, so they define that some products will get subsidy, some products will not. So the moment you define that, you are only promoting one model of agriculture or one product you are promoting. You are not allowing the diversity to pick up.
नैनो यूरिया को अभी और भी प्रमोट कर रहे हैं because of all the drone tech, all that, कह के कि with your mechanization this is the one which will go.
But if you look at the data, if you look at the scientific data, whether it is showing any result, I think organic natural farming has better data to show that it is viable, useful, rather than nano urea, right?
100%.
Where is the scientific evidence for nano urea that it is working? What is the rationality they are able to explain? Nothing, right? They're simply saying instead of using say 40 kg of urea, you can use say one bottle of nano urea which is 500 ml. But what is the rationality? What is the rationality? How it is working? What is the science? What is the impact? Where is the data? And then now you are questioning that organic farming में data नहीं है, but your nano urea also doesn't have data, isn't it? I'm saying why this discrimination?
Fair enough. आई थिंक एक पॉइंट बहुत ही ज़रूरी है जो मुझे भी काफ़ी स्ट्राइक किया है, वाज अबाउट पीएम किसान. मतलब फॉर द थर्ड ईयर इन अ रो, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, इट्स द सेम बजट व्हिच इज अराउंड 63,000 crores.
That's what I'm saying. No, so right from the beginning it is the same thing. Right from the beginning. So if it is the same number of farmers who are getting, so which also shows that there is no new farmers coming in. It also shows that you are not correcting to inflation. Because you are only giving 6,000 rupees, and today 6,000 rupees means nothing.
I don't even think
you won't even get a one packet of cotton seed. You won't get even a one packet of cotton seed. क्या फर्क पड़ता है?
And क्या ये 6,000 रुपये देना किसान को सोल्यूशन है? हमको फोकस करना चाहिए. क्या सोल्यूशन है सर? क्या होना चाहिए?
See, direct income support is a good move. I would say. See, direct income support because it won't distort the choices.
हिंदी में कर सकते हैं सर थोड़ा सा ये पार्ट.
नहीं, सी ऐसा होना चाहिए. देयर शुड बी अ कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव सिस्टम वेयर यू नीड टू लुक एट हाउ डू वी रिड्यूस माई कॉस्ट ऑफ कल्टिवेशन. सो किसान को कॉस्ट ऑफ कल्टिवेशन कम करने के लिए इनपुट में सब्सिडी होना चाहिए, नॉलेज सब्सिडी होना चाहिए, नॉलेज सपोर्ट होना चाहिए, कौन सा फसल कैसे लेना, कौन सा प्रैक्टिस करना चाहिए, दैट सपोर्ट. सो नॉलेज सपोर्ट होना चाहिए, थोड़ा सा इनपुट्स का सब्सिडी होना चाहिए, देन कलेक्टिवाइज देम, गिव देम एक्सेस टू क्रेडिट, then allow them to sell at a better price. If they can't sell, if there is any problem in the market, intervene from the government side. So that's a whole spectrum is what government should do. अगर ये सब करने के बाद भी थोड़ा सा गैप है, assess that gap, कितना गैप है जो सिस्टमिक प्रॉब्लम्स की वजह से किसान को नहीं मिल रही है आमदनी, then that should be the subsidy which government should give as a PM-KISAN. So today, if you look at it, could be around say 15 to 20,000 rupees kind of thing per household per year. I'm approximately saying. So if you look at, say, for example, we were making a calculation. Say, what should be the income of an average farming household, right, in this country? Farming income comes from 4 different sources. Crop production से आता है, wages से आता है, livestock से आता है, and then any other petty businesses farmers do. राइट, दिस 4 से मिला के कुटुंब स्तर पर, मतलब ए फैमिली ऑफ 3 to 5, द इनकम टुडे इज अराउंड 12 to 13,000 rupees per month. 12 to 13,000 rupees per month. And if you take the average income of the lowest paid government employee, this is the average income of the farmer, 12 to 13,000 rupees. And if you take the lowest paid employee in the government, it will be about 35,000 rupees. So you are only getting 1/3, right? 1/3 of the income is what farmer is getting today. And how do we improve it? So
what is the solution?
So farmers का productivity तो नहीं बढ़ने वाला है. So in 1 acre if I have to increase productivity, थोड़ा सा limit तो है because of the natural conditions. So soil may, it is deteriorating, so you can't improve your productivity, so you have to increase your soil fertility. मैं नया जमीन नहीं खरीद सकता हूँ, इतना खरीद हो रही है लैंड, नो, लैंड कॉस्ट आर गोइंग अप सो मच दैट आई कांट बाई, आई कैन ओनली लीज द लैंड, which means you should have a policy for allowing the land leasing. There is no policy at all, no. Tenant farmers को कोई नहीं, कुछ नहीं मिलता है आज के दिन, right? So how do you allow land leasing so that farmers can extend their land and then have more land is one area, one direction government should look at. Second direction,
they have not done in this budget.
They have not done anything. Second, if I can buy more livestock or if I can diversify into other crops, kind of, say if I have 2 acres of land, instead of growing rice there, if I can grow grass and then if I can buy more cattle, maybe I'll get better income. If that is the case, then I should have access to the credit. कहाँ से मिलेगा? वो नहीं है. No, that's the second one.
इसमें कुछ था, बढ़ाया था हल्का सा.
Credit is only for the landowners, right? That's what I'm trying to say. See, there's a as per the government regulations, 18% of the bank credit has to go to primary sector. Primary sector is agriculture. Today it is only around 12%. Why 12%? Because banks are not ready to give it to the farmers, though repayment is very high, and they're just giving it to the industry or the RADF, it goes to the NABARD and all. In this 12%, where it is going? So if they're talking about 35,000 crores or so as the bank loans, it is going only for the landowners. And if you look at actually across the country, if you map it, nearly 48%, that's what the studies shows, 48% goes to 5 cities in the country. Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chandigarh, Nagpur, Delhi, these are the cities which get Mumbai, these are the cities which get maximum. किसान कहाँ है यहाँ? सिर्फ landowners है. So our support systems are not supporting farmers, and that's what is causing the problem.
इस बजट में सर व्हाई डू यू थिंक सो मच हैज बीन इन्वेस्टेड इन फिशरीज एंड एनिमल हस्बेंड्री? मतलब एक आई थिंक डाइवर्सिफाई कराना चाह रहे वो इनकम, आपने जो पॉइंट मेंशन किया छोटे किसान के पास
So
एक
if you look at last 10 years farmers income data, the only sector where farmers are getting better income, say last 5 years increase of income, if you take, it is only under the livestock. It is only under livestock. So the income coming from livestock is increasing, and today farmers share in the farmer, it's about 18% or so. It can go up even, and it is growing faster. It is growing faster. And if that is the case, I think government should invest more on livestock, and that should include in terms of knowledge building, skill building, creating market facilities, all that. But unfortunately, what may happen is all that money may go into big industry again. So bigger dairies, bigger fish units kind of thing, rather than to the small producers. I think there should be an exclusive focus on small producers. There's a large chunk of small producers in the country in every sector. And they are the ones who are under threat today. And they are basically becoming labor. Small producers who are, I would say, they're all entrepreneurs, right? Who are earning for themselves, who are growing for themselves. So such people should get support so that they can survive on their own. So I think that's where the gap lies. So government is unable to recognize this fact. So the budget's statement should actually reflect these things. Natural resources को conserve करना, I think that should be the top priority. So water and the soils. Second होना चाहिए था livelihoods and incomes of the people. वो भी नहीं हुआ है.
राइट एंड एक और जो सरप्राइजिंग पार्ट था सर, गिवन क्लाइमेट चेंज, जो हम आजकल क्लाइमेट चेंज देख रहे हैं, द लॉसेस ओइंग टू वेदर चेंज, अनप्रेडिक्टेबल रेनफॉल, ये बढ़ रहा है किसानों का. अगर अब इस साल के बजट को देखेंगे तो प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना आज तक का लोएस्ट एलोकेशन है. आई थिंक व्हाट आई हैव इट रिटन हियर अबाउट 12,200 crores, which is the lowest allocation in the last 8 years. What is the thought process behind this?
See, there is no risk management system in the country. See, even if you look at Fasal Bima Yojana, it covers only the crop loans. See, it's a loan insurance. It is not a crop insurance. It's wrongly called as crop insurance. It is basically a loan insurance.
Explain that to beginners, someone who doesn't know.
See, मैं बैंक से लोन ले रहा हूँ. अगर प्रॉब्लम हुआ तो वो वापस करना मुश्किल है, तो मैं इंश्योरेंस कर रहा हूँ. तो पैसा आया तो बैंक लोन वापस ले लेगा, किसान को तोड़ी जाएगा. See, burden on farmer will come down, sure, but it is actually securing bank's loan.
Understood. Crop against mitigation.
It's not crop loan. It is basically so it's basically not a crop insurance. It is basically a insurance against the loan. So what India requires, particularly in the era of climate change, is a risk management system. गवर्नमेंट का रिस्क मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम होना चाहिए. वो रिस्क मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम ऐसा होना चाहिए, ऑल नोन रिस्क शुड बी आइडेंटिफाइड एंड रिड्यूस्ड. मतलब क्रॉप रिस्क क्यों हो रही है? सो यू आर यूजिंग क्रॉप्स विच आर यूजिंग मोर फर्टिलाइजर, मोर वाटर, एंड देन उतना पानी नहीं है हमारे पास, इसलिए वी आर मेकिंग क्रॉप लॉसेस आर हैपनिंग. सो कैन वी फोकस ऑन क्रॉप्स विच कैन बी ग्रोन विथ लो water, right? And wherever there is a high pest and disease problem, reduce that crops, shift the areas, and wherever soil fertility is going down, try to improve. So if the soil organic matter increases, if the water holding capacity increases, the risk of drought goes down, right? So reduce the risk. That should be the main mode of agriculture. Then residual risk, which cannot be covered under any of these things, should be covered under the insurance. Without reducing the risk, if you want insurance to cover everything, and then your allocations are very low, it doesn't work like that. So I think that is the problem. So we are not modernized our risk management systems at all. In fact, all government schemes are increasing risk for farmers. They are not reducing risk at all.
What do you mean by that?
So rice,
to some extent,
rice increasing area under rice is a risk for the farmers. Say, for example, if you take states like Telangana, states like Chhattisgarh and many states, the area under Odisha, area under rice has increased significantly. Significantly, and that is causing depletion of natural resources. It is causing the crop losses because on one crop, if you are using more water, you don't have water to use for other crops. See, instead of 1 acre of rice, I would have saved 10 acres of pulses, say 10 acres of oilseeds, etc. But since you are buying only rice, I am growing only rice. So my risk is increasing. So rice and cotton, except for rice and cotton, all other cropped area is going down. Why it is going down? It is because of the support systems.
Right. I think government is not supporting multi-cropping models.
Other crops, I would say rice and cotton, if more farmers are growing, support other crops so that farmers will shift. If you support only rice and cotton but ask farmers to make a shift, it is not going to happen.
Like sir, इस वाले बजट में एक और क्लॉज था कि द हाई वैल्यू क्रॉप्स, अगर उसमें आप देखें, आई थिंक ककाओ क्या क्या था, मतलब कौन से कुछ कुछ क्रॉप्स थे, सैंडलवुड,
yeah, see, these are all good to look at, but कितना एरिया है उसमें? See, what are you doing for large number of people in the country is the first thing, right? See, रबर को प्रमोट करना, नहीं तो कैश्यू को प्रमोट करना, नहीं तो these are fine, but these are all small pockets in the country, right?
What are you happy about? So just off the record, is there anything you take as a positive from the budget?
No, see, in the budget, see, I since I work with large number of farmers in the country and then I see closely, none of these budgets makes any difference to farmers' lives today. Farmers are able. See, what is the allocation? Say, the small and marginal farmers in Telangana or Andhra Pradesh, उसमें क्या फर्क पड़ रही है? What is the difference? Because say, if I'm a government employee, I look for a tax exemptions. किसान को क्या बेनिफिट आ रही है इसमें से? Isn't it? There's no new schemes.
वो क्या चाहते हैं, मतलब ये स्मॉल किसान के लिए क्या कर सकते
हैं? स्मॉल किसान के लिए आज के दिन ये है कि वो जो भी फसल उगा रही है उसको तो थोड़ा सा गारंटी दे दो, procurement, because the market fluctuation is very high. See, the price fluctuation, if you take, let me take a case of tomato. In a year, it's just 2 months, farmers will get better price. 4 months, they get cost to cost. 6 months, they are in losses. And government talks about tomato only when the 2 months when the price goes up. It intervenes, it will try to make everything, but उसके बाद काम हो जाती है and then all the farmers will make it to losses.
MSP तो है ना सर, इस साल के बजट में देख रहा हूँ लगभग.
Tomato is not there.
नहीं है, टमाटो पे नहीं होगा.
No, I'm saying except rice and wheat there is nothing, no procurement of any crop.
So you're saying that more crops should be added under procurement.
Procurement. See, reduce rice and wheat, procure other crops. See, this should be a driver. See, if you are driving a car, you should use accelerator and brake in such a way that you will go in the right direction. So budget is like that. So budget, you invest and you reduce on crops so that right decisions are taken by the people. Isn't it? So if I want more people to grow millets, then I put more money in millets. If I put more money in rice and I ask people to grow millets and pulses, nobody will grow, right? I think that's
No, I'm saying if that government does that, then everyone will start growing millets and then that price will crash.
No, that's what I'm saying. So you need to look at what is optimal. Then leave it. That's what I said. So the red, amber and green boxes is what government should look at. Grow up to this extent. Beyond that, it is not my responsibility. Right? Another
very point I think you will agree with कि बहुत साल बजट में हमारा रिसर्च का बजट is going down.
Even if it makes zero, nothing is going to happen to the country. There is no outcomes.
आप कह रहे हैं कि existing research से कुछ होता नहीं है?
कुछ नहीं हो रही है. Nothing is coming. It's just salaries they are spending. If you actually go into the budget and then look at, it's 95% of the budget is only salary budget.
What do you mean, salary budget?
It's salary of the scientists. That's all. Salary of the scientists, salary of the Department of Agriculture. What is the outcome? what is the research investments on any of the technologies they are making, developing? What is the outcome of that? Nothing has been done till now. No auditing is done like that. So I would say at this point of time, if you are not relevant, there should be some auditing done, right? Social auditing has to be done on the research, and then what is the outcome? Nothing. Say, for example, I would say, if you are looking at the climate change, let's look at climate change. What are the risks with the climate change? One is about the contributions to the climate change in terms of GHG emissions. Every practice you are recommending, what is the emissions? Are you actually factoring that? If you look at, you will never allow the rice the way it is grown today, isn't it? Your country, every acre of rice area increasing is contributing more and more. What is your effort to reduce the emissions in rice? Nothing. Look at chemical fertilizer use in this country. You go on recommending chemical fertilizer use. 1960s mein, every kg of fertilizer was able to produce about 13 kg grain. Today it is only about 3.7 kg. So 5 times kam hua to productivity of fertilizer, factor productivity of fertilizer, and that is showing that your soils are on deathbed. Soils mein health kam ho rahi hai. What is your contribution for that? And if 80% of nitrogen applied to the soil is emitted into air as nitrous oxide or getting into water as nitrate and polluting, you are also responsible for that, right? So government is actually subsidizing GHG emissions in this country.
And that nitrate is going into our food, water, everywhere.
Everywhere. Nitrates are for spoiling your water, and then farmers have to buy RO water in the villages. And then nitrous oxide is going into the air, and then it stays in the air for 100 years. And it is 300 times more dangerous than carbon dioxide. Why are we not talking about it? So you are actually subsidizing it, right?
No, but in the
all
budget,
this is the research. See, all this actually is the researchers who are supposed to say. So I would say the entire research system is dysfunctional. Extension and research is dysfunctional. That's what has led to the crisis in the country. I would say the whole country, agricultural crisis is a result of the dysfunctional support systems. So the dysfunctional support systems are, first is the research and extension, which are supposed to generate and disseminate knowledge. They're completely outdated. On the other hand, support systems, I would say banking system, procurement system, insurance system, they are also failed. So I think that's what is led to the crisis. And then we are still investing on the same thing rather than restructuring and changing.
Sir, if you look at the natural farming budget, तो उन्होंने 750 करोड़ रुपए दिया है, and their target is 1 crore farmers. So if you work out the maths, that becomes roughly 750 rupees per farmer of subsidy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand the mathematics here.
Yeah. So it is 700 rupees per farmer per this one. Let's do the same math for chemical fertilizers. Do the same math for the chemical fertilizers in terms of total acreage and then the total allocation. It comes to somewhere around 7,000 rupees.
Wow. So you're saying government is promoting 7,000 rupees for chemical fertilizers and 700 rupees for organic and natural farming.
So that is the issue.
What I also feel, sir, मुझे लगता है ना सर, ये budget and government, they're not able to link agriculture and they're not able to take it to the common person. What I mean by that is the link between agriculture and nutrition, the link between agriculture and health, link between agriculture and diseases, link between agriculture and chronic heart.
livelihoods, income. See,
budget में हमें allocate करना. I think agriculture is preventative healthcare. That is what it is to some extent. Do you agree with me, sir?
See, that's the whole point I'm trying to make. So, see, the people who are taking decisions are not able to understand. But the fallout of that is borne by the people, right? Because there is no accountability in the system. See, somebody who's taking a decision on budgetary allocations or regulatory systems, a technology development, should be accountable for the decisions they have taken, right? If somebody says 60 years back knowledge is right and then today's knowledge is, there's no need of new knowledge generation, and then we don't consider the new problems, and then I'm trying to solve today's problem with 70 years old knowledge, and you're allowing that. That's what is the problem today. I would say budgetary allocations, since they are not rationalized, I would say, they are not rationalized. In fact, Economic Survey actually mentioned this word saying we need to rationalize investments. Where is the rationalization? They should rationalize subsidies. Where is rationalization?
What about farmer producer organizations, sir? What is
See,
the
that's
take
what I
on
said. FPOs. See, what happened is when Government of India said they will establish FPOs, so say 4-5 years back, they started this program of 10,000 FPOs. But without creating these support systems, all the problems we discussed about, right? There are so many problems which agriculture is facing today. And there are many institutions which are supposed to solve that. So there's a whole Department of Agriculture, there's a whole research system, there is a whole banking system, there is a whole extension system, there is a whole marketing department. All these people together are unable to solve the problem. Right? And we expected that by paying some 10,000 rupees or 15,000 rupees for someone in the village to become a CEO of an FPO, and then farmer investing 1,000 rupees, establish an institution will solve all the problems. How does it happen? It takes time. It takes time because there is no skill set, and then outside environment is not very feasible. Agriculture is not viable. So you're trying to build a business in area where it is not viable, and viability is not because of their inability only. It is also because of the structural problems. So without correcting the structural problems, we are trying to push the FPOs. So that's what I was trying to give you an example. Say every individual farmer, when they buy a product or sell a product, when they are buying, they buy in retail. So they pay GST. But when they are selling, they have to sell in bulk. So there is the GST is not repaid. So I'm paying extra money for you. Isn't it? I'm paying to the government GST, but it is not accounted in my price. I won't get it back. Isn't it? Similarly, FPOs, if I'm an individual farmer, if I'm selling in the market, I'm exempted from the income tax. I'm exempted for GST. But the moment I'm selling through an FPO, I have to pay GST, I have to pay income tax.
FPOs are not exempted.
FPOs are not exempted. Even last 5 years there was an exemption, but in that exemption that which expired in April, they didn't extend it. Even when there was a exemption, they included minimum alternative tax, which is 18%. Just imagine there's an 18% alternative tax, and then if you look at GST, this is about 5%. 18 plus 5, 22%. And then if you look at bank interest rates, which is 12%, what is the money I'm making? What is the business for me? So that is the issue. So there should be a tax holiday. There should be a tax holiday for FPOs, and then there should be more investments. They should get access. See, when startups are getting so much support, right, in India, look at what is the new innovations these startups are making. Why so much investment? Free money which is given to the startups. All the incubation support across the country. What is the success rate? I would say success rate of FPOs is much higher than success rate of startups in this country. But there is a whole buzz around the startups, but there is no support, any of that sort to the FPOs. At least they should get 10 years kind of support. And
what kind of support, sir? Like if you were to build a policy.
Access to credit. I would say access to credit. Tax exemptions. Tax exemptions. So one is a support for the FPOs. I would say tax exemptions and access to credit, freedom to operate. Today, there is a push by the government policy saying you should show the numbers, you should set up input business. Say, let FPO decide whether they should get into the input business or not. What business they do. Don't run behind the numbers saying by tomorrow I need 300 members, by day after I need your 1 crore business. Don't do that. Allow it to grow, right? Organically, it should be grow. That is one part. Second part, there are structural problems like I mentioned about subsidies. There is a structural problems about regulations, subsidy, procurements. See, across the country, FPOs can become the procurement centers, right? right? FPOs can become the procurement centers. FPOs can be the suppliers for most of the, say, why do you need a separate department to be operated to procure and supply food? In every district, 2-3 FPOs can be identified, and then they can operate as a food security operators, right? 37 rupees today, like I mentioned, in the 37 rupees subsidy which government is giving, 16 rupees goes for logistics. And why logistics? From Punjab it has to go to Tamil Nadu. It has to be stored. So if it is an FPO which produces and distributes within its own situation, within its own area, it's quite possible, right? You can save on 10 to 15 rupees per every kg. And in that 10 to 15 rupees, let producer and consumer both benefit.
Similar to the dairy farming model, what Amul has done.
And then it is easier. So produce, procure, local. So decentralize it. See, at some point you needed centralization, but today you don't need it. So let the FPOs become that hubs.
What would you say, sir, the budget has done right? मतलब कुछ तो अच्छा होगा budget में किसानों के लिए. Positives. What are some positives from the budget?
No, except for that livestock thing, I have not seen anything positive at all. Even if farmers want to come out, providing alternative livelihoods also was not there, I would say.
मतलब if they want to leave farming.
Even if they want to leave farming, unfortunately. Because see, there should be a lot of money invested to support rural youth in terms of skill building, and that skill building should be effective so that they can get alternative livelihoods, which is also not happening, right?
Do you think, sir, we need more people to move out of agriculture?
Move out of agriculture, you are saying?
Yeah, away from agriculture.
See, today there are a lot of people leaving agriculture. If you look at the rate at which people are leaving farming, today average age is around 50 years. And 20 years down the lane, when India celebrates 100 years of independence, we were making a calculation. Average age of farmer is going to be 65 to 70 years. Because if no youngster comes into farming, you will be left with only these people who are with 50 years now. So they will become 70 years. Who is coming into the farming today if it is not economically viable?
Which is another interesting question. What is the budget doing to get youngsters into agriculture?
Nothing.
Do you think that should also be included?
That's exactly what I'm saying. So set up more enterprises. See, they talked about MSMEs, but what is the rural MSMEs coming up, and then what kind of support you are providing, what kind of knowledge and skill building you are making, what is the common infrastructure you are creating, rural industrial parks, why are you not looking at, why are you looking at only the big industrial parks, right? Food parks can be smaller ones, why should you have a big food parks? So the large focus is on investors, it is not in the people who are producing. I think that's a fundamental shift one need to have.
So even like when you look at the AI, जो AI का हम बात कर रहे हैं, ये भारत विस्तार करके, I'm just reading it out. Bharat Vistar is an Agri-Stack database where to provide custom advisories to farmers. The government has allocated 150 crores for Bharat Vistar. This tech-driven agriculture push aims to boost farm productivity and risk management with AI. अब सर ऑलमोस्ट इट्स लाइक गवर्नमेंट को भी लगता है कि भाई ये एआई रेस में एग्रीकल्चर को पीछे नहीं छोड़ना है. अगर आपको सॉइल प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़ाना है तो आप मिट्टी पे फोकस करो. आप एआई प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हो, इट्स ऑलमोस्ट लाइक सेइंग कि
that's exactly I said. No, your own data. No, that's exactly I'm saying. If your own data is saying your soils are bad, and if you are not allocating money, and you are saying you will give the same advice to the farmer and say farmer will solve the problem. What will AI say? AI will only say what your economic survey said, right? And what advice it will give? It will give the same advice what ICR is doing. And that's exactly the problem today.
Absolutely. Sir, let's say that you were to rewrite this budget. I know a few areas we discussed. Point number one would be focus on soil building, focus on more FPO exemptions, support. What are some other areas you think?
See, I would say at least, I would connect the this PM-KISAN to inflation. I will correct it to the inflation. I think is a very important area, and it should not be 6,000 rupees. It should be linked to the, and I would try to bring in parity. Say at least in the next 5 years, I would try and get at least parity. Today it is 30% of the lowest paid employee salary is what farmer is getting. Can we make it 50% in the next 5 years at least? I think that's what I would say. So towards that, I will try and correct all the policies. So the first policy would be the direct income support. Second would be in terms of more investments on soil health. So I would say every year I would reduce the fertilizer use by 20%.
How would you do that?
No, increase organic matter in the soil. So invest more there. So I will pay for ecosystem services. So get farmers soil organic carbon increase and then pay for that. So I would pay for that. Say instead of paying for chemical fertilizers and then paying for nitrous oxide emissions, I would actually pay for carbon fixation. Isn't it? Say, where does my money go is an important issue. 1.5 lakh crores if I'm spending on GHG emissions, I would rather spend it on carbon fixation.
Can you tell about that, sir? That's a part of the budget?
No, I'm saying today the fertilizer subsidy is about 1.5 lakh crores minimum. That's what their allocations are around. I'm saying in this, if 20% is the use efficiency, 20-30% is only the use efficiency. The rest of it is anyway going into the air and water. It's a pollution, isn't it? I would say rather than that, I will put at least 20-30% of the money onto promoting alternative models of agriculture, which increases soil organic carbon. So whoever increases the soil organic carbon by even 0.1%, I will directly pay them. So for every, say, I would say, like I made a calculation, it's about 7,000 rupees per acre is the fertilizer subsidy. I will give them directly so that if they can increase the organic matter.
So it sounds like such a simple solution.
Much easily doable thing. And then see, say 10 years back, 20 years back, it may sound very difficult because how do you identify? Today you have technology. Your satellite maps can show you what crops farmers have grown. They can say how much soil organic carbon has increased, how much water farmer has used. You can use all that, right? Farmers who have reduced water usage should be subsidized, right? They should be incentivized.
So, but you look at the major problem, but in our country, we don't even know, we don't have organized data.
That's the first thing. That's the first thing. Who is farmer? Who is the farmer? Who is the cultivator? Who is cultivator? There's no. So what does your stack does? It's the political intentions which are required, right? If you don't record tenancy in this country, if you don't limit all the support systems to producers, this continues like this. So it's more of a political economy question rather than the technology question. It cannot be solved through a technology. It can only be solved by a political decision. See, if 5 cities in the country gets nearly half of the agriculture credit in this country, subsidized agriculture credit in this country, and more than 50% of the farmers in this country are indebted and they don't have access to institutional credit, and then it is resulting in large number of farmer suicides in this country. Why are we not taking any action on that? I would say these are the things I would certainly change.
Absolutely.
And I will also certainly make institutions accountable, either it is extension system, whether it is a government organizations or non-governmental organizations, whoever are given the public money should be accountable for whatever they are claiming, right? So that accountability is not there in this country. So I would say if there is an agriculture research system, it should be accountable for what they are doing, and similarly extension system should be accountable. So which is not the case. They simply have an opinion saying organic doesn't work. Whose responsibility is to prove that it doesn't work?
Who's saying that, sir?
ICAR is saying that. If ICAR says that, where is the data? They are asking that where is the data to prove that it works, but where is the data that it doesn't work? And there is a lot of data to show that your technology is not working. So I feel
like, sir, there's a greater power which controls these things.
Correct. So the power shift. So I would say there's a power shift which is required, and that power shift only can help in terms of changing the equations. Unfortunately, see what we are trying. India, what is happening is that unfortunately we think small farmers are a burden on the nation, right? all these support systems are created because we have a lot of number of small farmers. Otherwise, who will create so much public infrastructure? Right? It's only private infrastructure, right? Like in the West, you'll have a private infrastructure. So private research, private extension would be there. Why would government invest in so much on the public universities? So we are investing because there are poor and then there are poor and then small people in this country who cannot afford to pay. If that is the situation, it is a responsibility of the public extension system to strengthen the small farmers. They are not meant here to say eliminate all the farmers, right? But today we are heading towards that. If 1 hectare of the land, which is the average landholding of the farmers in this country, is not economically viable, what is your economic design so that their income will increase? I can't increase my 1 hectare because I can't buy new land. So what are the other support systems you create so that I can get more income? So livestock, probably skilled labor, or probably invest in other enterprises so that I can get more income, and then I diversify, and then my children will diversify. And till that comes in, and how does that come in? That comes in only if the institutions behave responsibly and come with a plan. And that's what should reflect in the budgets and the actions of the government, which is not the case. I'm not talking about any political party. Every political party is same, because we are seeing across the country, every state, it is the same story. So I would say it's not a party problem. It's a political problem in terms of understanding our problems, understanding solutions required for our situation. This is missing. Unfortunately, current education system and current systems are not giving that knowledge. So we are perpetually doing the same mistake again and again.
Do you think we must move away from subsidies, sir?
No, I would say current subsidy system is not working. I won't say we should move away from subsidies. I would say we should move away from the current model of subsidies.
What do you mean, sir?
Say total subsidies across the country, if you take, where are the subsidies? Subsidies are in fertilizers, subsidies are in free power, subsidies are on building big dams and giving water,
polyhouses, big infrastructure,
polyhouses, and then in rice and wheat procurement. And all these are environmentally dangerous things. In these 5, what is the environmentally friendly thing? Nothing. All these 5. Isn't it? So big chunk of money goes here. So can we recast the subsidies? Same amount of money, but put it into more sustainable practices, sustainable cropping systems, sustainable livelihoods, which will generate environmental benefit, incomes to the people, food and nutrition to the people, and then health of then that's viable. I think that's what one should look at.
Anything else, sir? I'm sure, like, I had a deep dive. I think we covered major parts of the budget. Any other thing which you feel that people should be aware? किसान को जानना चाहिए.
किसान को ये जानना चाहिए कि गवर्नमेंट आके आपको मदद करना. If you dream of government coming and solving your problem, it's not going to happen. एक कभी भी सोचना मत. आप सोचिए अपने हाथ में क्या है. आपके अपने हाथ में खेती करने का तरीका बदलना आपके हाथ में है. फसल कौन सा आपकी खेत में उगा सकते हैं आप लोकल रिसोर्सेस के आधार पर, लोकल एनवायरनमेंट के आधार पर, वो आपके हाथ में है. ये दोनों आप कर लो. आप कलेक्टिवाइज हो जाओ, आप 1-2 कदम आगे जा सकते हैं. I think collectivize yourself. You can make 1 or 2 steps forward in marketing, 1 or 2 steps forward in pressurizing the government to make the policy change. I think that's what I would say. Don't wait till the government changes. If you change, government will automatically change.
One final question, sir. Based on this budget 2026 and based on your experience, हम लोग हिंदी से इंग्लिश में आ गए फुल फ्लो में. किसान मेरे से नाराज होंगे, बट इट्स ओके. मैं बोला था based on this budget and based on your experience in the industry, what is one problem that a private sector, let's say a youngster is starting a business today, how can he or she support farmer solve these problems which the budget, government and people are not able to? Any ideas for them?
बहुत सारे. See, today, if you look at, I would say, if I had to take one block, a block is I would say, minimal area. If you look at which has about say 20-25 panchayats, right? If you look at that kind of size of area anywhere in the country, they'll be spending anywhere between 15-20 crores of money on pesticides and fertilizers. They'll be spending anywhere around 1 to 2 crores monthly on snacks, etc.
True.
If you look at on food, they're spending a lot of money because everybody is growing only rice and wheat, so everybody is trying to get from outside. So there is a lot of opportunities in terms of building rural enterprises. There's very little in the urban areas actually. These urban areas are already flooded. So there's a lot of opportunities in the rural areas to build local economy. So if we can figure out solutions local, I think there's a lot of opportunity. You can also support people, you can also survive. But issue is, how do you understand the local issues? How do you deal with that? If you go by the same way that you'll build get a lot of venture capital and then build a big business like Zomato, and then so you kill everybody in the supply chain. So I think that's a mindset created in the enterprises. See, there's always a good opportunity if you build a good enterprise. Today, it's not a good enterprises which are being built in the name of. See, there's a rush in terms of they want to capture the entire supply chain and then get a lot of venture capital, sell off the company and go. So they're basically selling the company. They're not selling any product or service to the people. So their whole focus is on how do I exit with a bigger money. That's what the whole focus is. I would say, at least in the rural areas, if you can focus on building enterprises which can support local businesses. So there's a lot of opportunities. Why should Haldiram sell their snacks in every block, in every village in this country? There's a lot of local snacks can be built. Essentially, there is no hygiene maintained, there's no health, good packing. So simple things, right? So if that kind of skill systems can be built and that kind of rural enterprises can come in, biofertilizers, you can produce locally, seeds. Say today it's about 46,000 crores business in this country, the seeds is, right? All these seeds are produced by farmers, but they're all bought and then sold by the companies, which makes nearly 80% profit. Why can't we have local enterprises produce and supply seeds? So there's a lot of opportunities in agriculture and rural economy. So I would say, if you recall what Gandhi said, future of India lies in villages. It doesn't lie in the urban areas. So it lies in rural areas.
Opportunities in the village.
Next big business opportunity, next big sustainability, everything is in rural areas. I think that's where the youth should focus on. Bring solutions, build a business out of it. Hundreds and thousands of examples are there. All the failed cases are in the urban areas. The number of cases from the rural areas which are viable, which are not shown, not showcased. I think that's what I think it's a fundamental shift should happen, at least in the youth. Then the farmers, whatever is in their hands, if they start doing, I think slowly the winds will shift.
Perfect, sir. Thank you so much for your time. Very short-lived podcast, but I hope that people are able to take value from this. And maybe what the government is not able to do, maybe the next generation of youngsters possibly can do.
Correct.
And
so wherever change happened, it happened because of people. It has not happened because of the governments. Government changed if people made a change. Yeah, that's what I would say. Thank you.
Perfect, sir. Thank you so much. And I'll meet you in person very soon.
Thank you.